Welcome everybody back to another fantastic episode of the Three Man Rush podcast. I'm your host, Landon Oliver, here with my two co-hosts, Andrew Scott and Jared Holly. And we're going to try to go 2 hours tonight. Obviously, there's not a lot of bitching and moaning to do on this episode. But the good news is we are here, part 2, week 3 preview. We're doing the late slate here, including Sunday night and Monday night football. But just first off, I want to give a big shout out to all the new subscribers, all the subscribers we lost. If you're supporting the show at all, I just want to give you a big shout out. We appreciate it so much. And anytime you can, share the video or share your thoughts or leave us a review or any of that, please do. And if you're not subscribed already or liking the video or any of that, just go ahead, hit the like notification, hit the subscription notification, give us some love, and leave a review. And we appreciate it. But first off, I want to ask you guys, how you doing tonight? How's it going?
Doing good. Yeah, feel much better. Got to get a lot of rants out of my system last night, so I feel much better today. I got my casting couch behind me over here, so life's good today. Everything's all right. I think I only got like one more rant left in me, so should be a little bit more of a positive.
I have no more rants left in me. I'm like mentally drained from that. I can't rant anymore. Then again, I mean, it depends on if somebody gets a good subject going. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
There's always room for improvement. But like I said, if you did join us, if you watched the part 1 last night, somehow if you did make it through that episode,
God love you.
First off, yeah, thank you so much. Second off, we apologize for the strong language in that video, but it was warranted.
I would have loved to have like a personal F-bomb counter in the bottom corner for me, just so I could have known how many were going off on there.
Yeah, I was angry.
Yeah,
I was very angry. And that's what happens. But look, like I said, tonight, a lot more professional, a lot happier than the previous nights, because we actually got a pretty good, as opposed to the 12 o'clock games, 1 o'clock games, whatever area you're in.
The afternoon slate's a little bit more fun.
Yeah, there's a lot better football being played here. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So first game, 3:05, obviously, which I know I said, there's a lot better games. And we'll kick it off with the Jaguars and the Chargers.
This is a kind of interesting game.
Your first place, Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC South, facing the banged up Los Angeles Chargers. It seems like one of those statements gets uttered every year. I'll let you decipher which one of those that is. But yeah, man, it's hopefully Justin Herbert's okay. I don't know if they're holding him out of practice all week. I would imagine possibly so, but or at least like in a limited fashion. But I mean, that's going to be a tough thing to get through for him. Anytime you have any kind of injury to that midsection, the rib area, stuff like that, it takes a little while to heal, and it's very, very painful. Like at some point, like it hurts to breathe. He's going to be still getting hit, unfortunately, because this is the game of football. So we do want to send him well wishes and hope that he does continue to stay healthy, get healthy, all that stuff, because one of the best quarterbacks in football, and he was looking really awesome. I know you guys have a little personal rooting interest in his health as well.
Yeah, a little bit. I was just so blown away by that. Like at the end of that game against the Chiefs, whenever he did get injured, like there was one play where he couldn't even run to pick up that 3rd and 1. He was hurt so bad, and then he turned around and just throws an absolute dart, like one of the best passes I've seen, period.
That was crazy.
And then scores a touchdown. A little too late, but the effort that he showed there and the guts, man, was just
resiliency.
Yeah, it was unreal, man.
Plays the game the right way.
Right. Yeah.
He's a warrior.
Yeah.
Leaves it all out on the field.
Yeah, he's a gym rat for sure. But that was incredible, man. I was blown away watching that. Just thinking about how in pain he had to be, and the nuts that it took to pull that off was unreal. So I hope he's out there if he's healthy. If not,
Yeah.
give him a week. Like in the bigger picture, missing 1 week for a healthy Justin Herbert the rest of the season is better than constantly rolling out a hobbled Justin Herbert that never really gets healed.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what the right decision is, but I just want to see him healthy and back out there.
I think it's something he probably
Next
ends up playing
best.
through. They'll give him shots before the game. They'll have the protective vest on.
Right.
It's gonna suck for a few weeks for him for sure, but I think eventually it's something that can heal up and he can kind of get semi back to normal. I don't think he'll fully heal until probably later on in the season or even after the season, because he's still going to be taking punishment in the NFL. But he should be good. But yeah, I mean, if you got to set him for a week, it's good to always do that against an AFC South team because they don't seem like they can win any games outside of playing each other. So that being said, let's get to the AFC South team, and it is the first place Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off an absolute demolition once again of the Colts, which we will not get into that again tonight. But they did some good things there. I think Trevon Walker's looked really good as a rookie. Doug Peterson has really set a standard for that offense. Like, they seem to know what they want to do, how to execute it. I think they're going to still be growing pains because it is early in the season and they still, they do have such a young team, but it seems like Trevor Lawrence is, progressing as well finally, which is good for him.
Yeah.
I believe I saw a stat today that pretty much almost every single either like regular quarterback stat or advanced analytics quarterback stat, any stat you can really think of, he's ranking somewhere like in the top 10, whether it's like 9th, 8th. He has a couple where he's like 6th. So, I mean, he's playing like a top 10 quarterback. I know a lot of that production predominantly came last week. So, I'll be curious to see how he plays against the defense that actually, wants to play football. And, you're not going to have the lapses, from Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Like, those guys will be coming after him, pretty much all day. So you're not going to get, the cupcake, two-hand touch, kind of football that he got last week. But, yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see the progression. I really think he looks good. And, I'm rooting for this Jacksonville team. I hope they do good.
I think they're going to play pretty well in this game, to be honest with you. The Herbert injury is alarming to me. I think he's still going to play. I think he's going to be okay, but it's not going to be the same Justin Herbert. He's not going to go up and down the field. I think it's going to be a lot of dinking and dunking. I think they're going to rely a little bit heavier on Austin Eckler this week. I think Jacksonville will keep this game close.
Yeah, I think it'll be a relatively close game too. And it's just, I'm ready to see this third chapter of Christian Kirk with the Jaguars, because these first 2 weeks, man, have been incredible.
If he gets it done against the Chargers, then I feel like there's already people eating crow that made fun of that contract. But if he gets it done this week up here, then this is a completely different wide receiver than what any of us saw.
If you're a listener of this show,
we also will have to. We'll have to eat a little bit of crow.
I knew he was. I thought he was going to be.
You and Drew got to eat a little crow on this.
We like.
He's a good player. He's still not a.
We liked him.
He's still not making. He's making Tyreek Hill money. Like he's played good. He ain't.
What did you just? What was your statement about Trevor Lawrence a few minutes ago?
He's playing good.
Okay. Well, what did Jacksonville do in the offseason? They went out and got Evan Ingram. They went out and got Christian Kirk.
They got a head coach. They got a head coach.
They're putting weapons around the guy.
Which is the biggest. That's the biggest aspect of what they're doing on the field right now is Doug Peterson.
They also have weapons, though.
Yeah, Doug Peterson probably is the biggest part.
I mean, I think they have average weapons. I mean, it's not like they're going out like. I don't think they're going out there and like they're not adding AJ Brown. They're not adding Tyreek Hill. They're not adding guys of that.
Kirk's not at that level.
No, but he's paid at that level.
What
which
did they
is
have
still
the
a
year
question
before
mark.
that? They
That's
had
perfectly.
LaVisca Chenault and
I
Marvin
don't
Jones.
see the discord. Look, like it's not a one or the other. A guy can be playing well and still be overpaid.
My,
Like
my
that's
point,
that's
my,
not a
my
thing.
my point was, if he keeps playing the way he has the first 2 weeks, he's not overpaid anymore. That's all I was saying. If he keeps playing the way he has these first 2 weeks, he is not an overpaid wide receiver in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And if that ends up being the case, we will have to eat crow on his contract. We will. Now, it probably won't be sustainable, which is why I'm interested to see it continue. Like, I'm not declaring that
I
Christian
mean,
Kirk
yeah,
is going to be a top 10 receiver.
I don't think he's going to average 3 touchdowns every 2 weeks. I don't think Christian Kirk's throwing or scoring 40 something touchdowns this year.
But I love the way they're using him. I love like seeing him come out of the backfield and catch routes and the creativity that they're using for him and things like that. They're going to have to do that They're going to have to do that again against the Chargers too, because you can't just line him up against J.C. Jackson over and over.
Who is using him correctly?
I mean, I don't know who calls the plays for the Jaguars.
Doug Peterson does.
I didn't know if it was him or the OC that's calling plays.
It's Doug Peterson calls
if the Jaguars had the same receiving core as they had last year, would they have any success like they're having right now?
No.
I mean, they're 1-1.
I understand that. I'm talking they're scoring points. They hung in there with
Washington. We don't know. It's too early.
They hung in there with Washington.
I would very
They
confidently
beat the Colts
say
last year too.
The
with that
offense
receiving core with I mean,
they went from like LaVisca Chenault to Christian Kirk.
Marvin Jones.
Yeah, they still have
Marvin Jones. He played for
I know he was their one last year. Is what I'm saying. Like
by a landslide.
And now
he looked like a one last year in that Colts game.
Well, yeah, they got good production out of him 1 game out of 17.
So that's what I'm saying.
If they have the playmakers they had last year,
they lost week 1. Then they looked obviously great against the Colts as they do. Let's see.
Yeah, I still think the Jaguars are going to be an average team at best. I don't really have high hopes for the team, but I also don't think Trevor Lawrence would be top 10 in all the metrics across the board if his 2 top pass catchers were Marvin Jones and LaVisca Chenault either.
If Trevor Lawrence
even if Doug
the
Pearson
Indianapolis
was
Colts
there,
every week, he would be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Do you guys remember how much steam LaVisca Chenault got last year in the offseason?
Yes, Drew does remember that. He remembers that.
Tell you where he plays now.
Drew's a big LaVisca guy. But I mean, like we'll see. So really, this game, like, if Justin Herbert plays, that's going to be the determining factor in this game. Obviously. I still think it's going to be a good game, though. I'm excited to see it. If you did not know, I know we didn't touch on the odds in this one, so we do want to hit that. But the Chargers, even with Justin Herbert banged up, are -7 against the point spread. So they're favored to win by more than a touchdown, and there's still -333 favorites on the money line with an over-under of 47.5. So I think that's probably about right, honestly. So yeah, I mean it's interesting to see. I'm gonna take the Chargers in this one. I'm gonna take the Chargers.
Yeah, same.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. So AFC South, the gift that gives. Let's move on now to our second game. This is for Drew here. The Rams versus the Cardinals, both 1-1 now. Cardinals coming off a late victory. They squeaked that one out. Rams coming off a big victory where they started to look back to normal. Rams, even though this is at home, so the Rams are -3.5 point favorites. So favored to win by more than a field goal here. And they are -213 favorites on the money line with an over-under of 49.5. So I think the Rams are clearly the better team here.
The Cardinals give them fits every year.
Not really. I mean, they've only beat the Rams once, and since McVay's been hired, the Cardinals have only beat them 1 time, and that was
I thought they beat them twice last year for some reason.
No, the
49ers give them trouble.
Yeah, the 49ers are the team that always give them give them trouble in the division every year. The Cardinals beat the shit out of the Rams right around this time last year. I think it was week 3. Actually,
Yeah, the
I'm not
Cardinals
sure
are beating the shit out of everybody last year,
at the beginning of the year.
beginning
Yeah.
of the year. Yeah. So
Yeah. So I mean, the Cardinals put a whooping on the Rams early last year, but that was the first time they had beaten the Rams since the Rams hired McVay. Um, but thankfully, the Cardinals defense is just a hot mess.
no,
So
it's so bad.
you know, Cooper Cup
Offense
should
ain't much
continue
better.
to Cooper Cup, and Allen Robinson hopefully can stay on track. The number one thing that concerns me about the Rams, man, is their run game, and it's been bad since the beginning of last year, and nothing has changed. They have not been able to run the ball effectively. Cam Akers got a lot more involved last year. He had more carries than Henderson did, and he looked decent at the beginning of the game, and then got the offensive line had left him no room to run on a few runs in his yard. Like, I saw a lot of people on Twitter throughout the week citing his yards per carry. It's just go watch the film, and like, if you want to just say, oh yeah, his yard per carry is bad, so he sucks. Like, is if you go watch the snaps, he did everything he could to create on his own. There was one run that I saw where he should have kicked it outside and he didn't, and it cost him. So he left some yards on the field. But outside of that, I mean, I thought that he did what he could with the carries he got. But the offensive line can't run block for shit.
Yeah.
So
Which what concerns me, I still think, and it's kind of the same thing that's been concerning me about Cam Akers, is even with like some of the line, like even if holes are open early, he just doesn't have that burst that he had to, hit the hole quickly.
I thought he looked pretty good, and
he did early on in the game.
Yeah.
I thought he did early on in the game,
All
but he
things
still didn't
considered.
look. He still didn't look like Cam Akers. Like he's clearly, to me, he's still kind of like working his way back. And I mean, like, it'll probably get better as the season goes on. He'll get more accustomed, and everything will get stronger, and he'll get back. I don't know if he'll ever have the exact same burst, but I can get close. 90% of what he was, and that's still a really good running back. So, yeah, just a shame whenever guys get that injury, and it does seem, for running backs especially. That's the thing about James Robinson, which is kind of weird, is James Robinson was never like a fast running back. Like, he doesn't look any slower or faster than he did before the injury. He's never been that kind of a running back. But whenever you do have that acceleration, that elite speed, and then all of a sudden you don't, it's an adjustment period. You basically have to relearn like how to run. Like, you have to, because you've always had that your entire life as a running back, if you're at that level, and then all of a sudden you don't. So you're having to relearn the position almost and how you can manage that and stuff, until, hopefully that does return. So, yeah, I'm not worried about the Rams though at all. Their offensive line still worries me a little bit, but everything else, they'll be fine. Jalen Ramsey was back to being normal. Jalen Ramsey last week, as we knew he would be.
He's always going to be fine.
Yeah,
he talks a lot of shit. So if he does have a bad game, or even just a bad play in a game,
Everybody
it gets
knows
magnified so much.
Yeah.
And so people just like use one bad player, one bad week to try to write him off, and then he just goes back to being a great corner. But they do have other injury concerns in the secondary.
Yeah, I know your set cornerback too got on IR today, didn't he?
Yeah. And the cornerback 3 they've been rolling out there has not been playing well, who's going to be thrown into the cornerback 2 slot now. So I do think this could be a good game for Kyler, assuming that he can have any time whatsoever to throw. But
good luck.
Kyler, pick your poison for the pass catchers. I mean, you got Hollywood and Ertz, and then
Greg Dortch,
who's been good. But I do think that, like, I think this is going to be a pretty high scoring game. I think there's going to be a lot of passes thrown because of the injuries in the Rams secondary, and then the fact that the Rams can't run the ball anyway. So Stafford's probably going to throw it 40 times. So I think there's going to be a lot of passes thrown, and it should be a relatively high-scoring game. So, DFS-wise, it should be a fun one, and it should be a fun one to watch. But if you're a fan of defense, I don't know how fun this one's going to be.
Yeah, I think the Rams bounce back and make a statement out of this game, honestly. Arizona had no business winning last week. Absolutely no business winning that game. That was more of the Raiders gave them the game opposed to they actually won it. I love Kyler Murray. I think he's a great quarterback. But let's face it, he has nothing to throw to. I think AJ Green even got hurt last week as well. They were talking about him limping around.
That would be pretty
and it just gets to a point where you no matter what the situation, if the Rams have got some injuries, like they just don't have enough weapons to compete. James Conner's hurt. I don't know. I just don't see any way the Rams let this game slip between their grasp.
I hope you're right. I hope it's not a rerun of the early Rams Cardinals game from last year, because that was brutal to watch.
Yeah, I just don't think it'll happen this week.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams in this one.
Same.
Drew? You taking the Rams?
You know I am.
All right.
I do want to touch on one thing though. Tyler Higbee's getting some elite usage. Yeah, like he's almost become like wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I mean they typically want to use their receivers more than their tight ends in the past, but they got Kupp and Robinson, but they don't really have that dependable third receiver right now. With they haven't brought OBJ back yet, and he wouldn't be out there if he was back. Van Jefferson's still hurt, and you can't really depend on or lean on Ben Skoranek, and they've even been using Skoranek at fullback.
What about Tutu Atwell?
Yeah,
second round pick.
That's possibly the worst pick of the McVay-Snead partnership so far. Up to this point, so yeah, Higbee's the third guy.
It's very similar in Arizona, and I'm the tight end on the other side. How many years are we going to continue to write off Zach Ertz for him to just continue to put up?
Every year he plays until he retires.
He's an elite tight end. He's a great tight end, and every year everybody waits for the fall, and every year it doesn't come. So yeah, I like Zach Ertz too. Should have been a Colt. So Packers Buccaneers is the next game on the slate. Another really good game. Bucks are at home. Bucks are only 1.5 point favorites at home in a -125 money line on this with a 41.5 over under. Not a very good over. They don't project this to be a very high scoring game. Tampa Bay worries me a little bit. Tampa Bay is a little like, I don't know what's going on. Like their defense has kind of been their saving grace. Like the offense has done everything in its power to lose the last couple games. Like they've really tried to lose, and the defense won't let them. Unfortunately, now, they're not playing. They're playing the back-to-back MVP now, and I know like the weapons aren't there, and I mean Alan Lazard looked good again this week. And Aaron Rodgers praised him again. Like Aaron Rodgers loves that guy. I think, they should be getting their full offensive line back, and the offensive line did play better last week when they got, a couple of their guys back. Now I think they're getting Bakhtiari and some of these other, all pro level guys on that O-line back. So they should be good. They wanted Aaron Jones more involved last week. I would definitely say he got more involved. For sure. So it's yeah, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, like this is an interesting game because you have on one end, everybody wants to talk about the Packers' lack of weapons, and right now, Mike Evans is suspended for this game. Julio Jones is hurt. Chris Godwin is hurt. I mean, like,
it's bad.
Yeah, I mean it's bad. Like, and not only that, but now. Even whenever you don't have those guys, you're going up against Jair Alexander. You're going up against Eric Stokes. Like these are two like really, really great cornerbacks. And
your offensive line.
I know Justin Jefferson made them look, bad in week 1. And hey, that's Justin Jefferson. These guys are not that. But yeah, man, like this is interesting. I don't know what's going on with Brady. Like the dude looks like Skeletor right now. Like he's like every press conference, he like I don't know. Like something is up. Something is up with this team. Um, I don't know, but I mean, do you guys have any insight on Tampa or anything like this? Like, you know
They're
anything?
beat up. I
No,
mean,
I'm not the least concerned with Tampa.
yeah, I think they'll get healthy and
Yeah.
they'll make a push. Like something that like I think both these guys are. I think Brady maybe is regretting not staying retired, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers really. I won't say he doesn't care about football, but at the same time, I don't know if football is number one thing on his mind at this point either. And both of them are in situations right now where they don't have the talent they're used to having around them. Um, I don't know. This game is if everyone was healthy and Devontae Adams wasn't with the Raiders, and this game would be the game of the week, like it would be. And now we're looking at it with a total of 40 points.
Yeah.
That's a huge
I'll say
drop
this
off
too, man.
in
So
1 year.
Christian Watson, like, because I did watch a little bit of the game and stuff. You know, I know he's got some developing to do from a wide receiver standpoint, from a route running standpoint, but I will give him this: his speed for even for NFL standards, is elite. Like, the guy pops whenever you're watching the game. Like how like Tyreek Hill just looks faster than everybody else on the field. That's what Christian Watson looks like when you're watching him run. Like, he looks faster than everybody. The difference is this guy's like 6'4", 6'5". I know, like, he dropped an easy touchdown, but I think it's going to take him a little bit of time. He was a little more raw than a lot of the other guys, but I think he's going to be just fine if he can, work on his concentration, catching, route running, stuff like that. He's going to be just fine, because those physical tools, man, they really do just pop off the screen when you're watching Green Bay. So I want to give him because that was something I did notice. Is I know he's been getting a lot of hate for that drop touchdown, and we're 2 weeks. He's played 2 games in his career, and we're already getting the buzz. They should have taken this guy. They should have taken this guy, and they don't have anybody. That's good. Or like all this shit. And that's just not true. I think that's false. I think they have some guys that have enormous upside on that team.
Yeah, they may have upside, man, but that team, that receiving core is not that great. Like, it's just not. And
No, it's not.
I hate
through 2 weeks, it's not that great yet. But to say they don't have talented players, to sit there and look at it and be like, hey, like, these guys have no talent in their wide receiver room, I think that's false. That's unequivocally false.
They're NFL players. They obviously have talent.
Well, no, but I'm saying even for NFL standards, these guys do some things at elite levels.
For NFL standards, this is one of the worst wide receiver cores in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Tampa Bay's right up there with them right now.
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, with the injuries they have. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, look, that game last week with New Orleans and Tampa was awful. It was really hard. And then
it was the
best wide receiver, like Tampa has, gets kicked out. Like, he gets suspended. So, like, you're already going in. They signed Cole Beasley. I mean, this is where we're at right now. Cole Beasley.
That's
like,
right. I already forgot about that news.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, like, it's brutal. Like, it's really brutal. I don't know, man. I don't know who wins this game. Like, it's just tough. Like, it's a tough one.
This is a tough game to pick because, like, you would think that Green Bay should probably be the favorites with assuming that Julio and Godwin both missed. We know Mike Evans' suspension got upheld today, so he's for sure, like, there's no way he plays. So I mean, if you got to play against a defense as tough as Green Bay's and you don't have your top 3 pass catching options, and you're depending on Cole Beasley, Russell Gage, and Leonard Fournette to lead the way against a defense that good, that's going to be really tough. But then on the flip side of that, the part where Green Bay has the edge to me is that they do still have Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. It's just an incredible running back duo. And so, but then I run into trouble again. They have an incredible running back duo, but Tampa is incredible against the run. So it's like this feels like a game that's going to end up being really low scoring.
Yeah.
and one that I really don't want to have to pick. But um, yeah, it's tough. I don't know. But yeah, I think I've never been the biggest Alan Lazard fan. Um, I
I think
Romeo.
Alan Lazard does things on film that, like, he's really good at doing things that don't show up on the stat sheet.
Well,
Like
I will say
he's the
this.
definition of a film guy, where you
He's the
look at the
best wide
stat
receiver
sheet.
on the field on that game.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, you look at the game, and I mean, he did catch a touchdown, but it was like what, he had like
I don't think
13
there's that big
yards.
of a gap between him and Russell Gage.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he had 13 yards receiving, but he did catch a touchdown. But so he's a guy you look and you're like 13 yards, like he didn't really have a good game. And then you go back and actually watch the film for the game, and he had a phenomenal game. Like he made so many plays for Aaron Jones in that game. Like Aaron Jones does not have the game he has without Alan Lazard on that field.
He had a better fantasy week than Devontae Adams by 1 yard.
If the best that you could say about the Packers' best receivers, man, he has some good run blocking plays. That wide
That's
receiver
bad.
sucks, like flat out, man.
All right.
Like it might be good for other pieces of the
I
offense.
mean, that's fine.
But
I mean, like, I know y'all are like fantasy and DFS guys. You look at the stats and you want the points, but I mean, he had a really good game in football. Like, he had a good game.
Yeah, I think he's the best receiver definitely this week on the field. That team is in purgatory right now, man. Like I think they'll get it. I think they'll win this game. Spoiler: I'll take the Packers, but I don't know. Like this is a tough game, like to watch. Like it's out of all the games on
What happened in the Cardinals game?
I would rather watch the Cardinals than the Rams.
Oh no, I was saying I didn't know. There's something happened in the Cardinals game. Drew, he had his headset.
no, I don't have the game on. I'll take the Bucks.
Jared?
Packers. I'll take the Packers.
I'll take the Packers as well. All right, let's get in here to our next matchup, which is the Falcons and the Seahawks. And back to another rough game. This is going to be a rough game. So when you're looking at this here, Seahawks are at home. They are favored to win at only 1.5 at home. They are minus 133 favorites in the money line, and this is another 41.5 point over under. I know Drew's got some things to say about the Falcons. I've been waiting for this. So Drew, go ahead, take the floor.
I'm bringing back the segment from last night's show. Arthur Smith. What the fuck are we doing, man? What are we doing? Why do you draft an absolute unicorn at his position, 4th overall, and then in year 2 use him to block more than you did in year 1? And why are 50% of his targets coming against corners whenever the 2 best tight ends in the league, they're seeing 15% or less of their targets coming against corners, and they're having much more success? Why does Darius Slay have the same amount of catches as Kyle Pitts in any given week? What are we doing? Like, I truly don't understand it. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And whenever you get pressed about it, we're not. This isn't fantasy football. We want to win football games. Well, guess what? You're fucking 0-2. Maybe you should try using your best playmaker to help you win games, dude. What the fuck are we doing? Like, it's beyond stupid to me, and I don't understand it, man. And I'm never going to claim to know more than an NFL head coach about football, but there are things that happen throughout the weeks of NFL games that I, as a fan, just cannot wrap my head around. And this is one of those things.
We've all three, we've watched enough football to know when something's good and when something's not, like when it's working and when it's not working.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen what good tight ends look like. You see what good offenses do with elite tight end talent. So you know what it's supposed to look like. That is not what it's supposed to look like.
There should be no reason why the Falcons are utilizing him the way they are. I mean, if you even look at like Miami last year, obviously they're a completely different team now with Tyreek Hill. The way they line Gesicki up is similar to what Atlanta's doing, but they get creative with ways to get him the ball because he is an athletic tight end.
Kyle Pitts should be running seams and crossers on literally every play in the middle of the field.
I don't have a problem with them lining him up like a wide receiver. It's just they're not making any kind of like creative ways to run routes with him.
No, they're not scheming him open
in
at
any
all.
way. Like
they're just, yeah.
I mean, I'm waving my white flag, Lane, and you win. Like Kyle Pitts will not finish as tight end 1. He may not. I mean, he's not going to finish like in the top 10 at this point. The way they're utilizing him, and that's sad.
He's like tight end 35, man.
Yeah,
right now there's 32 teams in the NFL. There are other teams tight end 2s outproducing Kyle Pitts right now. Why are you not scheming this man open? What are you doing? It sure as hell ain't trying to win football games. So you can stop saying that shit in the press conferences because that ain't what you're doing.
It's not Marcus Mariota or anybody like that either. It's the way they're scheming him.
Yeah,
like
they're just throwing him out wide and saying, "Hey, go win." And I like, granted, they did that same thing a lot last year too, but he had Matt Ryan throwing him the ball, who you can say what we want about Matt Ryan this year, but Matt Ryan last year and the targets Pitts was getting from him versus Mariota this year and the targets that Pitts has been getting, Matt Ryan's targets were of higher quality last year, so he could afford to just go out there and win and be a little bit more productive. But it's I don't know, man. It makes no sense to me. It's annoying to watch. You have a incredible, unique talent just going to waste every week, every single week. And like you could have just drafted Cole Kmet instead, or somebody like that, and just waste him like Chicago's doing. Why the hell? Why use the 4th overall pick in a draft whenever you have so many needs on your roster? You take a tight end who Kyle Pitts was worthy of being drafted that high, but who in their right mind drafts somebody that high and then doesn't do everything in their power to scheme him open and get the ball in his hands and get him in space and let him make plays for you and help you win? Like you say that you're like that's what we're trying to win football games. You're not trying very fucking hard.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like I do feel like Matt Ryan's quality of passes is better than Marcus Mariota, but I will say they did have Calvin Ridley lined up opposite of Kyle Pitts for some of the last year too. I mean,
and they had Russell Gage too,
and Russell Gage. So I mean,
he's got Drake London now, who looked great.
Right, and it's not like the Falcons are overloaded with like all these elite players to where Kyle Pitts is just not getting his because of all the other talent around him. I mean, I think Patterson's a good player. He's 31 years old, and then you have a rookie who's unproven, and like there's no logical reason why this is happening outside of they're just not scheming him. And
that's another thing that blows my mind. That point you just made. Arthur Smith somehow found a way to unlock the Swiss Army knife of Cordell Patterson at age 30 and 31 that nobody else has really figured out how to use. But he can't fucking figure out Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Like I don't know. I give up on trying to figure it out. I haven't lost any faith in Kyle Pitts, but my hopes and my the hype that I had surrounding Kyle Pitts, I've just put that completely to the side. Like if he does something great, if he has a great week, that's awesome. That's a plus. I'm done expecting it because I have absolutely no faith in the Falcons coaching staff to make it happen. It's gonna happen eventually because he's too good. It's undeniable. Like he's going to find a way to make it happen. And I mean, hopefully the drumbeat's been loud for Kyle Pitts this week. After that shit show in week 2, and then his stupid ass press conference afterwards, trying to, for whatever reason, people like whenever coaches get criticized for their usage of players, their go-to thing is, "Well, I'm not playing fantasy football." Like, why are you shitting on fantasy football? What does that have to do with you being a shitty coach? Like, even if fantasy football wasn't around, you would still be a shitty coach. So that has nothing to do with this. So yeah, I'm just like, if Pitts does something great, it's just a plus at this point. I'm not expecting shit from this coaching staff anymore. I'm done. That was my last rant of from my week 2 reactions. That was the only one I had for this show.
He was holding that in.
I'll make one more comment. I would much rather watch this game than the Tampa Bay Green Bay game. Personally,
I would too. I'm curious to see Mariota and Geno Smith. Geno's looked not bad.
Jesus
he hasn't
Christ.
looked bad.
That is not that is not the selling point for me. I'm excited for Mariota and Geno Smith. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch Real Housewives of LA or some shit.
No, I would. I mean, I would much rather watch this game than that Green Bay. Tampa.
I don't necessarily disagree. I don't disagree with either of you guys. It's just that's how gross this is. Is like yeah, I would rather watch this game, and then you're like, yeah, I'm kind of excited for Mariota versus Geno Smith. Like, what are these sentences that we're saying?
Well, right like I like Mariota, so I'm.
No, I know. It's just like the NFL's just kind of some of these games are just gross right now.
Week 3's terrible. It's a bad week for football.
I am excited for Mariota versus Geno Smith is a real sentence that
was uttered,
and that you're not really wrong for saying either, because there's not like this.
I was saying that's how you know something's truly wrong with you. Like as a football fan is like that's when you know that you've hit like rock bottom of like maybe I do have a problem. Like maybe I'm addicted. I don't know. Maybe I have an issue.
If Pitts was being used correctly, I would also be very excited for this game. But I feel like it's not good for my mental health to watch the Falcons right now. If they continue to misuse Pitts, it's just going to continue to piss me off. And
it's kind of funny too because like Mariota, like. I know we talked about it similar, like how Mariota was misused in Tennessee, where you take everything that the guy was good at in college and everything that his skill set basically translates to, and you scrap it and turn him into something he's not. And that's literally what they're doing with Kyle Pitts is you take everything that his skill set gives you, which is just like enormous. It's like almost like you said, a unicorn at that position. I mean, and then you turn him into a blocker, a run blocker. I don't.
That's basically
he's either run blocking in line, or he's lined up outside as a wide receiver, and it's like there's no middle ground.
No creativity whatsoever. There's none.
It's tough to watch.
Pitt should be the easiest person to get creative with. Like you can put him wherever you want.
And it's not like Mariota hasn't succeeded with tight end. I mean, he made Delaney Walker.
No, yeah, him and Delaney Walker were great together.
A really great tight end. So
yeah,
Mariota has the experience with throwing to tight ends, and he should definitely be able to use that. But yeah, in a weird way,
Seahawks
though,
came back down to earth after week 1. They're gross.
Yeah, well, that's their Super Bowl.
Throw the Seahawks in the dumpster.
That was their Super. They got hyped for that game.
I feel so bad for DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Like the Seahawks are awful. They're so bad.
They should definitely trade DK Metcalf to.
Think about like the talented players on this in this game. Like
the skill position players are incredible.
Yeah, like the skill players in this game. That's the reason why I feel like this. I would rather watch this than the other.
Drake London, Tyler Lockett, Kyle Pitts,
DK Metcalf,
Cordero Patterson.
And
Ken Walker got his first set of snaps and didn't look bad. Yeah. You got the GOAT Rashad Penny. Like skill position players out the wazoo for this game, but. And the defenses suck on both sides of the ball. So who knows? This probably honestly, as gross as it is to say, I'm excited to watch Mariota versus Geno Smith. This probably will be one of the
if Kyle Pitts can't do something against the Seahawks defense, we've hit DEFCON like 5.
Yeah,
this is the Millie Maker lineup right here.
Yeah,
this is stacking this game up. I have a feeling
we're talking ourselves into it live on the show right now.
Yep. Yeah. I'm even more excited to watch this game than I was 5 minutes ago.
There you go. That's what we do. What we do.
I'm gonna be but I know I'm gonna get so fucking pissed. I'm gonna be sitting there. I'm gonna be cursing Arthur Smith's name for an hour and a half. It is what it is. I want better for Kyle Pitts. Damn it, he deserves better.
Oh, goodness. Well, that takes away our late game, and now we get into the Sunday night and
Did we even
Monday night.
pick the game?
We got
to pick the game. Yeah.
Yep. I'm taking the Falcons.
I'll take the
I got
Falcons. Drew?
I'm taking the Falcons. I don't know if the Seahawks will win another game all year.
Yeah.
Like that might seriously be their one game that they win is that game against the Broncos.
I'm take the Falcons in this game. So we got 2 Falcons, and then we got a Seahawks. All right. So now that brings us now to our Sunday night football game on NBC.
Let's ride.
And yeah, well, we got Jimmy G. It's like the battle of like the guy that like fucks porn stars, and then the guy that like is just like like the exact opposite of whatever that is. Like if you if you were to tell me like if you could find a way to quantify what the exact opposite of a guy that fucks porn stars is, it's Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Jimmy G's too busy, like fucking around on casting couches like this behind me to be making TikToks pointing at shit, saying these are the things that he loves or whatever that TikTok was.
Well, yeah. What did that say? What did that say at the end of it? Like, oh, it was so cringy.
It was awful. It was terrible. I don't know who okayed him to post that. Like I imagine he probably has some.
We care a lot. We care a lot.
We care a lot. That's what it was.
We care a lot.
Yeah, he really needs to.
And I'm like, what does that even mean?
He needs to ask Tom Brady for his social media manager's number, because Brady does it like nobody else really can, and Russ is the exact opposite of that. He could really use some help. It's bad. It's bad, man. It's just. Did you see where he had the offensive teammates on the sideline yelling "run" or "pass" whenever? Like it was a fucking high school game.
Yeah, there was.
Bro,
these men are professionals. I'm surprised one of them didn't look at him like, "Dude, shut up."
I know Tyler Lockett came out and said
that game was so
easy. That game was easy for the Seahawks because they said Russell Wilson uses the exact same hand signals that he used.
The crowd in that Denver game last week was literally counting down the seconds
clock.
on the clock.
Please tell me you saw the quote from Russ after the game about that too.
No, what did he say?
Y'all keep. Y'all keep
talking. So first off, let's hit on the 49ers here because obviously Drew's boy, RIP Trey Lance's ankle.
I don't want to talk about this.
I know that's bad, and it's bad for me. A lot of mine and Drew's fantasy teams too, because we were very high on Trey Lance, and we did pick him up in quite a few leagues. So we've pivoted. I've actually got lucky. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I got lucky and I pivoted to Carson Wentz in a couple of those leagues.
Great pivot.
In quarterback 4 on the season right now.
Yeah,
he's played really good. So, I got to throw in Wentz in last week. Won my matchup. Thanks, Carson. So, yeah, man, it's a shame, but now Jimmy Garoppolo, who all off season, will he get traded? Will he get released? All that. We made it 2 weeks and he's back starting for the 49ers. And in a weird way, I don't know if this necessarily makes them a more dynamic team, but I think their floor is safer with Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think
they definitely don't have the ceiling. That's for damn sure. But I think their floor is safer with Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think they're a lock to make the playoffs where I do think, hell, I mean, I still think they would have made the playoffs even with the team they had with Trey Lance. I think he would have figured it out, but they would have had a lot more growing pains where Garoppolo, they love that guy there, man. They absolutely love him.
The team loves him. The team rallies around him, man.
Ain't nothing like knowing exactly where he's going to take you and no further.
Yeah, I mean, he can take you to a Super Bowl. I mean, you might not win it, but
he'll get you there, by God.
Hey, I'll tell you what, right now, there's a lot of teams that would take that. And I'm speaking from experience. Even if we didn't win the Super Bowl.
There are a lot of teams that would take Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, there's a lot of teams that would take a Super Bowl appearance or an NFC Championship game appearance.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, anybody would. If you guarantee any team they're going to make it that far, they'd take it.
Yeah.
Well, my only problem with Jimmy G is we know what he is.
Exactly.
Your ceiling is capped with Jimmy G.
For sure.
And you can be excited about him all you want. And I know he's a great locker room guy, whatever, And Trey Lance might not ever be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo.
That shit matters.
It does. Matters. I mean, to an extent, it does. To an extent.
I mean,
But-
yeah, you still got to go out on the field, but
Yeah.
I think. Well,
And
one
Trey
way
Lance
to
might
look
not
at
ever
it-
be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo, but the reality is with Trey Lance, you don't know. The dude could come out and wreak fucking havoc on the league and take the 49ers to a place they've never been, or he could just not ever be that good. But you don't know. And with Jimmy,
we don't know. And the sad thing is will he be anything what we thought he could be, even coming off this injury? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
that's something.
that's
That's something that
tough.
like this could be like this could hinder his entire career. Like, and
yeah,
that's
'cause
really
apparently
sad.
it was a pretty bad, like a fibia fracture.
Yeah.
There was the ankle, like some of the ligaments were damaged. So it was a pretty bad injury.
The worst part of that whole thing is they stood him up. Like he got picked up after getting hurt and stood and collapsed. Like that's most of the time when someone has injury that bad, like they're on the ground, like, and they're getting stretchered out. Basically, they're getting carted. He stood up, like, and
well, I mean, like it could have, like that could have made it like worse as far as like he could have just had a fracture and then stood on it and then it broke. So I mean, like it could have compounded the injury, which is never a good thing. But I mean, we don't know. Regardless, if the injury happened. Good news for them is it looks like they'll hopefully get George Kittle back this week, so that's a big boost to that offense, big boost to the running game. Yeah, like he's a guy that you can use as a blocker and light up, unlike Kyle Pitts.
well, the shape the NFC's in right now too, man. Like, there's not a whole lot of dominance. I think the Rams are going to be okay, but they've not looked great the last 2 weeks. And then outside the Eagles, like, there's no
they
team
played
in
the Falcons
Eagles.
last week. Was that? Didn't they play? Like Falcons gave them some trouble.
Yeah,
They did.
it was
not really trouble. I wouldn't say that. I don't think they were ever.
The final score of the game looks much closer than what it actually was. It was.
I don't think there was. I don't think they were in any danger of
something
losing that game.
Some wild, weird ass
were-
shit happened.
Yeah,
Like,
but the Falcons were
back.
scrappy. Like they were scrappy.
Yeah,
They
were
had a
slim
chance
rats
to
for
take
sure.
the lead and win the game. I mean, technically, they were down. What, they lose by 6, and they had a chance. They threw it in the end zone.
Yeah.
Ramsey
Yeah,
picked it. So, like, if they complete that pass to Kyle Pitts, then this
they've
whole
got-
season is different.
That's all you need to say. They've got Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and for a chance to win the game, they threw a fuck it ball to Brian Edwards while he was being covered by Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
As much as I like Mariota, though, I kind of feel like that was not the play that was drawn up for him to go to.
They had no
I feel like
business.
he
being
might-
in
I
that.
feel like he might have-
I don't think that was the play
Yeah,
call.
I feel like
It's
he might have misread the situation there.
Yeah.
He was pressured, if I remember correctly.
Well,
Yeah, they did get after him.
Anytime you have that offensive line, you're going to get pressured.
Yeah.
Somehow that offensive line's still better than the Colts right now.
So
congratulations.
The point I was trying to make, though, is, I mean, at this point, with Garoppolo at center, I think San Francisco has just as much of a chance as anybody else in the NFC to make it to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Like, and that's the AFC is a completely different beast than the NFC right now. All the top tier quarterbacks are in the AFC. The up and coming quarterbacks are currently in the AFC, where the NFC is a mess. Like it's really, I mean,
AFC is so stupid. It's so
the Eagles look like the best team in the NFC right now. And it's not even close.
Through 2 weeks, they definitely are the best team in the NFC. Yeah. I got the Russell Wilson quote.
All right, yeah, hit us with it.
Russell Wilson was asked about the crowd counting down the play clock. I guess that was helpful if needed. I guess they do that in basketball sometimes. You know, I've been around some basketball players and stuff like that. You know, this crowd was amazing tonight. Like, man, they were counting down the play clock because you guys can't stop fucking up, and they were booing you from like the first quarter. I know Russ is a very say all the right things like that, but it's just like
he's a car salesman.
Come on, dude. But then it's
He's
like
been booed 2 weeks in a row.
Then at the same time, like I give him shit, and then you see like on his off days he's spending them at children's hospitals and shit like that. Like Russ is like
dude,
don't take anything I say wrong. Russ is
he's a good
incredible guy, but
plus too, I mean, like, you know, like guys around our age, this is a big deal. That dude bagged Ciara. Like, I mean, like that's a big deal, bro.
Against all odds.
Yeah, we gave Jimmy G his flowers, but the bouquet really belongs to Russell Wilson.
Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, dude, Ciara is better than anybody on Pornhub.
in the
So
porn industry.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say. So Jimmy G's losing out on that for sure in that battle.
this is the hard hitting analysis that people are here for. We
That's
got the who are they fucking power rankings.
That's right. Jimmy or Russell Wilson
AFC
definitely
wins
top tier.
again.
Yeah, good.
That
good.
AFC
The
is so dominant.
AFC
AFC
wins
wins.
again.
It's so dominant, so top heavy.
It's such a dominant conference.
Bagging all the bitches and winning all the games.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
They also have Jackson Mahomes in that conference, so they take
yeah.
and
That's
Juju.
true.
We got the TikTok conference, so
I like Juju.
yeah, I do too. I like all of them. I just like all of them. We're just happy over here. So I know we didn't touch on
Everybody love everybody.
Yeah, so I know we didn't touch on the odds in this one, but the 49ers, even though they are away, are favorites by -1, so not really favorites. And it's basically just an even line. And then 49ers are -120 with a 44.5 point over under. And I mean, yeah, that's a very, very even game. I'm curious to see if Nathaniel Hackett can rally.
I don't think he can hack it.
It's been that was good. That was really good. That was really good. It hasn't looked promising, but look, man, the guy's coached for it's 2 games. We're in week 3. Let's give it some time.
Yeah.
It's funny that I'm saying that because it was literally like I was like last night I was just like burn it down. Like we're 2 weeks into the season, burn it down, and now I'm like, well, let's give Nathaniel Hackett a little bit of time.
I did see a pretty interesting theory on the internet today, though, and you know how the internet be doing, but
it is undefeated.
The Broncos just need to face the facts that the only reason they brought in Nathaniel Hackett was to try to lure Aaron Rodgers, and it just didn't work. And they didn't even like Nathaniel Hackett that much as a head coach. They just wanted a better chance of getting Rodgers, and it didn't work out. And now they're stuck with Nathaniel Hackett. Not my words. It's just one of the theories I read on the internet today, and I was like, I mean, there's probably nothing to that, but it's kind of interesting though.
I feel like there's something to that a little bit.
Yeah,
not entirely far-fetched.
I don't know.
So here's a hot take. I don't know how you guys feel about this.
Oh boy,
do we feel like Russell Wilson's overrated at this point?
I'll tell you my concerns with Russell Wilson because I've always been a big Russell Wilson fan. My biggest worry, and 2 weeks isn't enough of a sample size to know if the yes or no answer to this, but the biggest concern I've always really had with Russ is once he stops having that like great escapability and being able to make something happen once a play breaks down, like he's done so many times in Seattle, and he has looked a little bit slower. And I don't know if that's just not being comfortable with the offense yet and not having the rhythm with the pass catchers and things like that, or if he has lost a little bit of a step.
I think it's probably a combination.
But that's always been such a huge part of his game, and that part of his game has not looked good through 2 weeks. And if you take that away, is he just an average quarterback?
That's my fear.
He does. I'll say this too. So this is going back to another film thing here is week 1. Like, yeah, I would agree. Week 2, he was really, really, really good. His ball placement was really great. His velocity was really great. There were some bad circumstances that happened that didn't necessarily result in like some favorable stats going his way or a catch here and there going his way, but he did look like normal elite Russell Wilson last week.
We lost Jerry Jeudy early in that game too.
So, well, that's what I'm saying. Like there were some extenuating circumstances, and the biggest issue with Russell Wilson for me, and this is even going back to his rookie year, this has always been his biggest issue for me, is I think he relies too heavily on the escapability, and I think he runs himself into pressure way too much. Like he's always running into pressure whenever he doesn't have to, and that's always been my big issue. But no, I don't think the accuracy, the arm. I'm
not concerned about his accuracy.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean he's just fine. He's above average still.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that the concerns I laid out would be the only the question that I think is still to be determined. But just for me personally, and again, I'm a Russ fan, so which is weird to say with how much I also dog on him with some of the shit that he says and
Yeah,
stuff.
he's
But
so
just
corny.
his
But
play on
doesn't mean we don't
the
like
field, like his play on the field, though, I still think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm not overly concerned yet.
Yeah.
Like I'm not 2 games into a new system, new quarterback, new playmakers. And the first game, it was really, I forgot who it was. It was a professional. I think it might have been Ryan Clark actually. Had said that, like if you find yourself in like the homecoming game type of way that Russ was in, and like you're a defensive player or something like that, and you can use all of that like emotion and things like that to just go hit somebody, it can be a positive thing. But for quarterbacks, it can almost affect you negatively because
Yeah.
it just takes away your focus really, and it like you can't.
You're trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Well,
So
to kind of circle that to an extent, the last 3 big homecomings, it was Peyton Manning against the Colts, loss. It was Tom Brady against the Patriots. They could have lost that game
Barely
in all
won.
actuality. And then it was Russ against Seattle, and he lost that game. So, yeah, I think there is some merit to that. Where
yeah, and with Russ, it was his
crowds,
very first game.
Yeah,
Like,
in a new system, new head
crazy.
coach, new everything.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are right. I'm a big Russ guy too. I like the guy a lot. I do have my concerns. I do. I
Definitely fair to be concerned from what we've seen so far.
Because I think, obviously.
I think maybe week 1 you would be concerned, but like I said, I think he played.
I have concerns with the Denver Broncos.
Really, really, really good.
I think things.
Their red zone usage has just been like
that's
horrid.
Yeah, it's awful. But just from
what
what I
they're doing
saw
in the
week
red
2,
zone.
week 2 was definitely an improvement on week 1, but there was still some stuff left to be desired considering the Houston Texans defense that he was playing against. I definitely think that there's still room for growth there, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're only 2 games in.
Yeah. I think they get it figured out.
I agree. But
Talented
the question is, do they get it figured out in week 3?
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes. I think they do.
I'm taking the Broncos.
I take the Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos as well.
It's tough. I'll take the 49ers.
I think that's a smart pick, honestly.
I think they're going to play ball control.
Well, like that, and then like for some
They're gonna
reason,
play 49ers
like Jimmy G's, like all he does is make winning plays. Except like when he has like in the Super Bowl or in the NFC Championship game. But for the most part, he like all the guy does is just he does stuff that translates to winning football games.
He has won a lot of football games as a starter.
A lot of football games, man.
Yeah.
And whenever he hasn't been the starter, they've lost a lot of football games.
Yeah.
So, speaking of losing football games, here we have the perennial losers. But could they be good? I don't know. I don't know. Cowboys versus the Giants, the 2-0 New York Giants versus the 1-1 Dallas Cowboys with Cooper Rush leading the charge at quarterback. Made some good plays last week. Played pretty good. Definitely was not the worst quarterback on the field in the NFL last week. So that's always positive when your backup is not the worst starter in football.
True.
So yeah, man, this is a game like it's Monday Night Football. It's on prime time. It's the NFC East. It's Dallas versus New York. I don't know why we keep putting these teams in prime time. I don't.
NFC East, the beast.
Prime
time matchups.
If you put the Cowboys on prime time, it's going to draw huge TV ratings, and until that stops, they're going to keep being put on.
That's the reason why it keeps happening.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that. Like, I mean, I know they have a lot of fans, that have never even been to Dallas or anything like that. But
sure.
They almost have just as many people that tune in to root against them.
Mm-hmm. They're like the Yankees,
the team you love to hate.
Yeah, you either love them or you
I
hate
didn't know
them.
any Patriots fans until they won Super Bowls. I didn't know a single person.
I didn't know a single. Yeah, did not know a single Patriots fan until. Gosh, when was the first Patriots fan I ever met? Was I guess
had to be Ray, right?
04?
Well, they were winning Super Bowls during that time period. So.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. No, it's Yeah, I don't know.
But
It's funny.
you certainly
Yeah.
can't. You certainly can't say that Cowboys fans are only fans because they won the Super Bowl, because that sure as hell hadn't happened in a while. So,
No.
I think the casuals like the Dallas Cowboys. That's my
yeah,
personal feelings on it.
Cowboys and the Steelers.
Yep,
Cowboys
I
and the
feel like that's
Steelers.
the
Cowboys and the
casual
Steelers.
fan bases.
So
Yeah.
many, a lot of Cowboys, a lot of Steelers.
There are diehards.
Two very
Not everybody's lumped in that
decorated
category,
teams.
but that's my humble opinion. I do think this game's intriguing.
I
And
agree.
I think the
From the Giants' perspective, yeah, I'm curious.
I think if the Giants start off 3-0, that's no one's seen that coming at all. Like
Which is awesome. Because I like this Giants team, man. Like, I think their offensive line is really good. Like, I'm not saying like they're like.
I think they're one of the worst teams in NFL history.
I think that there's so much turmoil in that team.
That's where I'm at.
Like, oh man, Kenny Golladay ran 2 routes last week.
Richie James was like their number 1 receiver.
Cordelius or Tony didn't even he was practicing with third string special teamers. It's just what is going on there? And they're 2-0. So you have this team right here is 2-0, and God knows what's going on in the organization. And you have a team like the Falcons, who I feel like has more talent than the Giants do.
I disagree.
I think the Falcons are more talented than the Giants.
I think they have maybe 2 players. Yeah.
It's not by a landslide or nothing, but I
think Kyle Pitts and Drake London, yeah, and then maybe cornerback, yeah, the one cornerback would probably be up there. He's one of the
AJ Terrell's one of the best.
Yeah, AJ Terrell, but
who do the Giants have outside of Saquon Barkley?
Oh, their offensive line's really good, man. Andrew Thomas has been just fucking phenomenal this season. Mark Lewinsky's played really well. Evan Neal, I think, is going to be back. They're 2-0, and they don't have they're running third and fourth string pass rushers as well.
Adoree Jackson has surprisingly. I thought that he was just done, and he's been great. Are they going to get Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau back this week?
That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm going to see, but yeah, I mean they're running
their
third and fourth string pass rushers right now, and
that would be a big deal if they got Azeez and Kayvon Thibodeau back. I think Micah Parsons is going to wreak havoc in this game.
Julian Love, the safety, is another guy I want to point out. Played really well. He's been playing really well.
But yeah, I think the Giants playing Tennessee in week 1, Carolina in week 2. I don't think this is a good football team. They're not as bad as they were last year, but as far as you're talking about 2-0 teams in the NFL, they're easily the worst 2-0 team in the NFL right now, and one of the worst that I can remember in a while.
The craziest, they do have a very good realistic shot of being 3-0.
It could very well happen. I think
today, Brian Daboll said they're getting close. So
okay, that would be really big if they got both of those guys back.
We'll see what happens Friday. I would be looking Friday, but yeah, they get both those guys back. That's a huge boost to that defensive line. Yeah. But yeah, look, I don't know, man. Maybe this is just the old man coming out in me. I don't know, but I really do kind of subscribe to the thinking of you are what your record says you are. So you might be the best, Would you rather be the worst, the best 0-2 team, or the worst 2-0 team?
I would rather be the best 0-2 team.
Yeah, I feel like the Bengals.
I would take the team that's winning games.
So you think the New York Giants are better than the Cincinnati Bengals?
I mean, right now they're playing better football at this moment.
No, they're not. They're playing worse opponents.
They're playing better football.
I don't know. That's very intriguing, and it's also very intriguing that you're okay with your record is who you say you are now, but you didn't really feel that way with the Tennessee Titans and their record last year.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
They were the number 1 seed.
Their record, and you did, and they were. You did not. You were not preaching. You are what your record says you are with the Titans. You were calling them frauds and things like that. And you,
came
along. You were not wrong though.
The Titans could be 17-0, and I'm gonna they or 16, 17-0. That's what it is now. They'll be 17-0, and they're frauds. They're always going to be frauds, no matter what.
Well, spoiler alert: the Giants are also going to be frauds.
But they could be 3-0 frauds.
They very well could be. Yeah.
I'm taking the Giants. I'll just go ahead and lay it out there. I feel like
taking the Giants.
Dallas.
I love what Daboll's doing with that offense. I love the schemes that he's running right now. He's making life so much easier for Daniel Jones. Like, and in a weird way, like Daniel Jones makes it hard on himself, but Brian Daboll is doing everything in his power to make things so easy for Daniel Jones, and it's working. Like, he's making like decent throws. He's playing decent football for the Daniel Jones that we've seen the last few years. I mean, on top of that, like, I know Saquon had a bad game this game. Literally every good running back outside of Nick Chubb had a bad game this week. So I don't think that's an indication of anything. I think Saquon's still really great. Their wide receivers, like, I'm curious to see.
That's one doubt I don't have.
Yeah, like, I'm curious, and I like Daniel Bellinger. I like the rookie tight end there. I'm curious to see how they're gonna like work through, because I know they're working through rotations to figure out who they want to play at wide receiver. Like, they're constantly changing to, I guess, try to like nail that position down.
It doesn't help that Wandale Robinson's already.
Yeah, Wandale's hurt, and Sterling Shepard, he's looked good. I don't think he's looked bad at all. I'm kind of curious though how they're going to do that, and then if this secondary has been much better than what I anticipated it to be, for sure. Their linebackers aren't terrible. I think they're average as well. And if they get those two stud pass rushers back, man, like, this could be a team, man. Like, I don't think they're like in any, like, I don't think they're making the playoffs or anything like that. But I do think they could be a dangerous team that I would not want to play.
I would be fucking ecstatic if the Rams got the Giants in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
I'd be
like in the playoff, in the playoffs for sure. Like,
I'd be stoked to have the Giants on my schedule every week. Like, let the Rams play the Giants 17 weeks out of the year. I'd be stoked.
Well, the Rams are a much better team.
I'm not scared of the Giants. Like, I'm not looking at, like, regardless of what team I am, I'm not looking at my schedule like, shit, we got to play the Giants this week. I'm not there yet with the Giants.
I just think they're very, like, they're well prepared, they're well coached. They do have
Brian Daboll definitely has them better off than they were last year.
I don't dislike the Giants. So that being said, we're gonna take the Giants. Drew, you taking the Cowboys, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, like, Daniel Jones has been the most pressured quarterback in the league through 2 weeks. And there are pieces of their offensive line that's better, but there are still holes too. And I think Michael Parsons, and granted, Daniel Jones also runs himself into some trouble too. But I think Michael Parsons is gonna wreck this game. And
that's a matchup I'm really curious about. Is I want to see Andrew Thomas on Michael Parsons, because Andrew Thomas. So really, even going back to a little bit towards last year, like, outside of Trent Williams, Andrew Thomas has been probably the best left tackle in football. So I'm curious to really watch that matchup. It's something I'm going to be highlighting for sure in this game.
It's one of the few things to look forward to.
The other figure I have about the Cowboys, they did beat the Bengals last week, so I'm kind of going against the grid here, because I think the Bengals are a better team than the Giants, and they're 0-2, and the Giants are 2-0. And
I think the Bengals are beating themselves a lot right now.
Here's the thing, though. The Bengals beat themselves in that game, and the Cowboys in the second half could not score points. They couldn't get first downs. It was Micah Parsons basically just wrecking the game is how they won that thing. And that's my fear with the Cowboys moving forward without Dak, is how are they going to score points? And I know, like, the jury's out on CeeDee Lamb too. Is he a number one wide receiver?
He looked good against the Bengals.
He did. He looked a lot better than he did, especially in week one. I was with Dak playing or Cooper Rush or whoever was playing. It made no difference. He just looked really bad against Tampa.
Yeah, he did.
But I mean, outside of CeeDee Lamb, there's not a whole lot of targets to go. Like, Noah Brown has actually looked.
Michael Gallup has a shot to play this week. He won't be at full strength. He won't be like full snaps, but Michael
I'm
Gallup
not
out there.
Yeah,
Michael Gallup out
I'm
there.
holding them out.
I'm not a
You
Michael Gallup guy. I'm just not.
really?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. I like Michael Gallup. I think
I
he's.
think
I think
Noah
he's really.
Brown. I think
I
Noah
think
Brown
Michael
is.
Gallup's. I think
He's a
Michael
good wide
Gallup's really
receiver.
underrated.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Noah Brown with Cooper Rush is a good combination because of the chemistry they have.
chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plays a big role.
But I think Saquon Barkley is the key to this
He's
game,
so
and I
good,
think
man. It's so good to see him back and like being
Yep.
Saquon Barkley.
and they'll like even though he had a rough week last week, fantasy wise especially, we did not play him, thank goodness, but he's still getting targeted, he's still getting carries, and
Very
they're going
involved. Yeah.
while he's healthy, they're going to run him, and they're at home, and that crowd is going to be hyped because the Cowboys whooped their ass last year both times they played them. So this is kind of like all right, we see you. This is their Super Bowl in a lot of ways too. they're gonna overplay this game.
Yeah, the 2-0 Giants on prime time at home
Dallas Cowboys
against Dallas. Yeah, this really is kind of like their Super Bowl. Yeah. I don't have a lot of faith in the Giants overall. There are like I love the head coaching change. I absolutely love Saquon Barkley. But I mean, their best playmaker outside of Saquon is Kadarius Toney, and he's not touching the ball. Wandale Robinson's hurt. Kenny Golladay is cooked. Like if you got Daniel Jones at quarterback, Richie James is possibly your wide receiver one, or whoever they want to roll out there that's not named Kadarius Toney, and Kenny Golladay is just non-existent. I have a hard time trusting this offense, even more than I do trusting the Dallas offense, even with Cooper Rush. Like I have more faith in the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys offense than I do this offense. Their only saving grace is Saquon.
The only other thing is too, the Dallas Cowboys have Mike McCarthy as a head coach.
That's the part that sucks. that part sucks. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Mike McCarthy he ain't it.
No.
Yeah, rough.
But yeah, I'm gonna take Dallas though.
All right, so there we go. We've covered all the games. We've covered all the drama, all the angry rants, everything you could think of from week 2 going into week 3 now.
I haven't looked at week 4 yet, but I can't imagine there's any way possible that it's worse than week 3.
Well, let me look real quick here.
There's
no
way.
Just right off the jump, man. Dolphins, Bengals, Vikings, Saints, Seahawks, Lions, Titans, Colts, Chargers, Texans.
Much better already.
Commanders, Cowboys, Jaguars, Eagles, Bills versus the Ravens.
Yeah, okay. We're back.
Broncos versus the Raiders.
We're back in business.
Yeah. We're Chiefs and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, we're fine.
Rams and the 49ers on Monday Night Football.
Who's on Monday Night Football next week?
Rams and 49ers.
Fuck.
At 49ers.
Fuck.
Is it Levi or is it's not Candlestick anymore, is it?
No, it's Levi now.
I hate watching the Candlestick. I'm old.
I hate watching the Rams play the 49ers on prime time.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I mean, we got the Colts and Titans, so this game could literally determine the fate of the Colts franchise going forward. Because I imagine like we're gonna be like 0-2-1 after this week. So can you imagine
the Titans beat the Colts?
Oh,
Landon's room back there is going to engulf him.
It's in Indy. Yeah. Oh,
Jim
Irsay's like, all those videos
down.
Yeah, like all those videos Irsay films in front of his plane when things go bad.
Like, I do remember the famous one after.
Well, he did one the other day too. Like,
did he?
In front of his plane, yeah.
I didn't see
like
that.
if they lose to the Titans, this dude's gonna be like in one of like Elon Musk's like spaceship launches, like getting ready to go into space, like, and he's gonna be filming it in front of that. Like, he's just gonna be so angry.
That's such a flex too, filming a video in front of your plane.
Private plane, yeah. Billionaires, man.
Like, yeah, okay, Drake, calm down.
The crazier thing is Carson Wentz has more air miles than Jim Irsay right now. Over 2 weeks.
That's true.
I am very, very disappointed with Jim Irsay. And I don't even want to bring up the Colts, but
No, they don't deserve it. So let's go ahead and end it here, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening again to another fantastic episode. We appreciate it, and if you would please leave any comments, things we could do better, things you want to see, and some things you're looking forward to as well. Some matchups if you want to go ahead and throw your choices down there, then just some other stuff that we're looking forward to. I'm excited for hopefully a similar week of DFS wins as last week. So if you want to play that as well, make sure you tune in Friday live at 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 Eastern for the live DFS show, where we go through here. And last week we killed it. So
It's a very profitable week last week.
yeah, so we're hoping to do that again this week, and we're hoping that you join us on that journey. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you Friday night.